She is done. She's done with the farm life.
Well,
Yeah.
she was gonna be
Well,
done,
you
but
should sit
one
up
way or
there.
another, she's supposed to get
Oh, it's
fixed here in a
fine.
few
You're
days.
sure?
Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I understand why there was that.
Josh found that.
That chunk out of the courthouse?
Yeah, not sure where it's from, but it
Unique.
works.
Okay. Did you guys get a chance to go through AP? There was something on there.
No mom's getting
Is he
there,
getting
Josh. Yeah.
There was something I saw. Oh, Pearland Partners, there was a, did we not get a bill paid in there?
Yeah.
No, I know about that.
Did we know about it?
Not until Friday.
Okay.
Thursday or Friday.
Is that they just a billing issue or what?
So basically what happened was, Public Works vouchered off of a order slip. Parts were back ordered, so they paid off of that bill. And then when the guys went actually and got the parts, instead of getting 2 mower blades, they picked up 4.
Mm.
And so those 2 mower blades did not get paid for.
Mm.
And so it caused us a little bit of a hiccup at John Deere, so I went down there and got a copy of the bill, and then Hannah added it to the vouchers.
Okay. You can go through what you want to see.
Yeah. He thinks he's got two in the other.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
I'm good with it. I didn't see anything in there surprising. What's a gun credit? Oh, for sheriff.
Isn't that handy though?
Yep.
That's a lot easier than that simple computer. And I can throw that in my pickup seat.
Yeah. Get a little more.
And then some days I take a phone call. Hello?
Big deal.
Yeah. You're gonna lose it that way.
That's
Lose your
true.
phone.
Yeah.
Somebody called my phone.
I do like that.
Yeah. Here, I'll leave it there. You can,
No,
you're getting used to it.
Okay. Do we approve?
Yep, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
You wanna make that motion, Darren?
Yeah. I thought he
Darren's
did.
got it. Darren made a motion to approve the AP for a total of $161,652.78. All in favor?
Aye. You had, how much do you have?
Yeah, I
How
don't
much
know.
do you
That's
have on that, 162,000?
161,000.
Okay, 161,000.
Yeah. I think you can make that smaller too. I just always leave it that way. 'Cause I
No,
don't know
that's
how
fine.
to get
I
that.
like it like that. Yeah.
This is my wife. Darren headed to Florida on an airplane. We don't have the red folder then?
I grabbed the wrong red folder. Hannah had it because they were getting the department heads.
Whoopsie.
So-
Okay, so for October 18th minutes, I do have a copy of that. I'd like to make some corrections, and if these guys have some too.
No, I did not. I have not.
Is
voted.
is it written down by chance?
The corrections?
Yes.
Yeah, I do, but I want to go over them.
Okay,
we've
can
got
I get
some
a
time.
copy of that, please?
Sure can.
Thank
And
you.
then Kelsey, I don't
October
know
18th.
if, I'm just gonna entertain the idea of, can we send Hannah in to take minutes? And the reason I say that is, this has taken a lot of time to have to fix this, and I understand some things are just not some people's cup of tea, but some of these things are the repeat mistakes, and it just takes me a lot of time to go
Well,
through
I
it.
copied it from previous minutes that were already done
Okay,
from years back.
Okay,
But is the difference because there was some, like, is Melinda looking over them as well?
well, and that's, I've had her help me on some of that, but there's some punctuation stuff that I think, if you copied it from previous minutes, for
It
instance,
just
down here.
didn't get like I said, I've been copying it from that because you guys were going on punctuation, so I went back as far as January's and looked at some of the ones and just changed the.
Okay, so sometimes it says, for instance, Heather Struble, comma, Health Director, comma. And then right above that, it says Jennifer Wolf, Department on Aging, Public Transportation, there's no comma. So it's, there's one line right after the other that it's not the same, and I would
Well,
like
could
for those.
you just email me, when I email those out, could you email me those and we could have them ready to go on Monday?
We could, but they are not just my minutes, these guys
Well,
need
yeah,
to.
yeah, I understand that,
So I could send that to you, but then
Yes.
these guys need to be able to
and then I
have-
can resend it out if you would like.
Right,
Say,
but
hey,
these-
these are the corrections from Brian, and I can highlight them if that makes you feel
Well,
better.
I'd rather do it in a public meeting, open meeting, that way if these guys had corrections and additions, that way we're not sending a bunch of stuff behind the scenes around. So I'd rather do it
Okay.
in the public, open meeting. And I figured we have some time right now, unless, nope,
Christina's here,
Time she on,
because you don't have public comment. Oh, you do.
she's on for 9:15, so do you guys wanna take care of the minutes right now?
Because when we get done, we get done.
Okay, because we all have some things to do. So the first one where it says Ted Lukens, Mr. Ted Lukens, I'd like Mr. taken out of there.
Okay,
And not just Ted Lukens' public comment, it should say Ted Lukens had public comment regarding, instead of was to reconsider road boring on Northwest 150 Avenue. The next paragraph below that, the subject to be discussed will be non-elected personnel matters. It should say non-elected in front of personnel. Then the meeting will resume at 9:22 in this room. Do what?
Approved unanimously.
Yeah, approve unanimously for the vote. Next paragraph, same type of deal. Instead of will be personnel matters, will be non-elected personnel matters. And again, it was approved unanimously. Jennifer Wolf, Department on Aging, Public Transportation, comma, should be a comma added there, just like what I just said a little bit ago. Commissioner Struble, a couple below that, where it talks about spending request in the amount of $4,195.06 for vaccine, should be a semicolon, approved unanimously. And that's, I know we've had that in the past, I know it's been exactly like that in the past, and there may be some in here just like that in the rest of these minutes. Next one, Commissioner Vornoff, motion to approve the inordinate spending request in the amount of $3,199.30. Instead of for vaccine, it should be, this is for KIPHS software renewal. And then have a semicolon after that. So that was just a matter of not the right thing that we approved there. Let's see. So the next one down, or a few down, where it talks about Jan Harding was being there. Commissioner Vornoff motion to approve going out for bids to remount ambulance and a 4x4 ambulance, approved unanimously. And I'd like the 4x4 part in there because there are people in the county that have been asking about 4x4 ambulances, and so I want them to see that we're, yep,
We have bid for both of them, right?
right. And so not only would I like people to see that, but that is actually what we discussed. Couple down from there, where it says the board consensus to table addition/abatement. It should say it was the consensus of the board to table, not the board consensus to table. Next paragraph, couple down there, where it says, where it talks about the open meeting will resume at 12:25 in this room, and that should say approved unanimously there as well, so it shows the vote that actually occurred. 2 or 3 down below that, Commissioner Struble motion to approve CID program out of the county clerk's office and to move the CID program out of the county clerk's office and to the community development directors. That should not be approved unanimously, it should be approved unanimously. Next paragraph, again, when we vote, it needs to say approved unanimously, if that's the case, and I think that one was. So the open meeting will resume at 12:45 in this room, so it needs to be approved unanimously, shows how the vote went. Next one, couple down, Commissioner Vornoff motion to accept the proposal of Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce, Ferris for the 2021, 22, 23, And it should be audits, because that is plural, those are 3 different years, 3 different audits we're approving for them to do. So it should, instead of be audit, be audits for that one. Next one, Amy Delasarda, Human Resources provided department update. Personnel status forms were approved, new hire for the health department, new hire for the public works. All those need to be included because that's what we did with Amy. And so if we're talking about action and approving things, I think that needs to be in there. Next paragraph down, again, needs to show how we voted, and that one I believe was approved unanimously as well in that paragraph, and it doesn't say anything about that. Next one down, Commissioner Vornoff motion to amend his original motion and allow the trenching of not Ted Lucan's Road. It's not Ted Lucan's Road. It is 150 Avenue, and so I'd like to see Ted Lucan's Road taken out and be 150 Avenue inserted in there. Do you guys have any additional corrections or additions to that? So, those are corrections I'd like to have. I can forward this to you if you want to take a look at it.
Yes, sir, would
And
you
you
please?
have a
Thank
copy of
you.
that. But I'm just saying, it's, it's tough, but there's some things that I think it's taking us a long time during the meeting, and at home, it's taking us a little bit of time to go through this as well, so.
Well, there was multiple ads before. Melinda would send it to like Ruth back when, to look over the meeting minutes, and that's why I sent it to her and you guys, so that, if there's something that I can update, because I am human, so I.
And I understand that, I'm just saying, it's taken a lot of time every week, and if there were multiple sets of eyes back then that looked at it, there probably, I don't know why we can't have multiple sets of eyes looking at it again now. So, and in Melinda's defense, she was asked to not take care of that responsibility anymore, and so she's not going to, and I'm not gonna ask her to, unless, like this case, I said, hey Melinda, will you please take a look at this for me? So,
Oh, I was not made aware of that, but okay. I
So
will-
if you're asking her to do it now, then I can see why she'd probably be a little upset about it, so.
So I just won't include her, I'll just send it to you guys, because if she's not doing it, I wasn't made aware of that, so now that I know, I have it written down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, and then did you make corrections to the last minutes
Yes.
from last week? Okay, and
Yes.
those are coming in the red folder eventually? Okay. Okey-doke. Anything else, guys? Okay. All right, Chris, you're up, first time. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Feels weird, you're right here.
You're supposed to be on this side. That's fine. A lot of good at it.
Only thing I had was the EOP, which I sent you, which is a huge file, so I did not print that hard copy down to bring with me. This is just a concurrence, that's basically approving that EOP as it was, and it would require all 3 signatures.
You don't, you can make a big.
You sent this to us, right?
Yeah, it's on the Monday notes, clear at the end. Do we need to have a motion to approve that, correct?
So,
Okay, Jeff made the motion to approve the EOP, what do you call that, the Local Emergency Operation Plan concurrence. Jeff made that motion, all in favor? Aye.
Here.
Yeah, gotta take a little deal off.
Oh, it's got a little rubber.
Okay,
Brand new pen.
brand new pen.
Chris, I thought you were saying Yogi.
That too.
What is she talking about?
4 and 5.
25.
I thought it was some new Asian something or other.
And then this is the promulgation, and I always say it wrong, promulgation, and that just requires chairman's signature. And it's for the same thing. It's just 2 pieces that they require.
Man, bring up new pens and everything.
All right, so I need a motion to sign the promulgation. So it's one of the responsibilities that Kansas County is required by the KSA 48-929 is to develop and promulgation of county emergency operations with the intention of saving lives, protecting property in the event of major emergency or disaster. So this goes along with that, right?
Mhm.
Talks about the planning, includes mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. So she needs a motion, or I need a motion to be able to sign this, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And everything's still on?
You can have
Well,
it.
if you want to
As
see
far as I
it.
know, I sent a message to her this morning just to double check, make sure. I'm waiting to hear from her, but I'm sure they'll be here because
Oh.
he's super excited, so. What'd you do to your knuckle?
Just burn it. If they're not gonna show up, you might give us a heads up.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So the presentation is gonna be here?
No, it'll be down in dispatch.
Oh, dispatch,
Yeah,
okay.
'cause we're gonna set the sirens on.
Oh, cool, okay. Yay.
Are you coming?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was invited.
Okay. Cool, cool. All right, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
See you in a little bit.
Okay.
I'm kind of excited about that. I think that's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Josh, you are up.
A little ahead of time, that gives me a little time to walk through the plant.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. I've never been through it.
You know.
Nope.
Really?
Good morning, Josh. You
You
had.
sent us something on
Yeah.
camera or something too, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I sent that through Melinda, and I think she got it to y'all,
Yeah, yeah.
so. I did go ahead and print out most everything here, so.
Thank you, Josh.
Kim?
Josh, did you do the sticker in for the dispatch part of it?
It's up to you.
So installation, were you talking about doing that, or were we?
So Nolan and I will do installation, at the remote locations, so EMS buildings. When we talked last time, you guys wanted to add those on. So we're gonna do all the installation there, so that's switches, camera, wiring, that type of thing.
Okay.
I just don't feel, and speaking for Nolan here and myself, I don't feel comfortable doing that in the courthouse. It's a lot bigger job. We're going through a lot bigger walls. There's some 36, 38-inch walls down in that basement that we can't drill through. That's just,
I don't blame
take too much out of our day to do that, so.
And then the question I have for Glenn,
Historical building.
that's what I was gonna ask. So with it being a historical building, are there some hoops he needs to jump through?
I would have to look into that. As far as I thought it was like exterior type stuff, but
I would make sure before you.
Start drilling holes, yeah.
Sure, so I talked about this a little bit last time, but the plan is that we're not putting any exterior cameras that are not there currently. The only exterior cameras that we would add, and this is future, so maybe when we do the jail, what we roll in that package, would be on the outside by the light poles, looking back toward the courthouse. So
So
that way, if people take pictures of the courthouse, or, we get shots of it, there's no cameras, hanging off the side of the wall, it's at the light.
That's the one on the south door. You can see them coming in, but you can't see what they do once they get in the building or something, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple of blind spots. There's a design center print off that each of y'all have that kind of shows where the cameras are. And then there is a blind spot outside that we're addressing, and we are taking care of the installation of that. That is from the outside of the second floor walking toward the jail. There's a blind spot where our cameras stop and jail cameras don't start yet.
Right.
On the radio tower, I talked to Tracy about this. On the radio tower, we're gonna mount 3 cameras.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna have, so they're gonna be pointed out in each direction, so we'll have a view of the health department, we'll have a view of that sidewalk, and then the courthouse as well. So, the other day, we had some kids come up and just hanging on rails, taking some of the mortar off the rocks and, chunking throwing it at the building there.
At the courthouse?
Yes, sir, yeah. I mean, no windows were hit or anything like that, but just kinda wanna be cautious of
So,
that kind of stuff.
that, I guess a historical question again, is make sure we can do stuff on the inside too. I'm assuming we can, because we've already put them in.
Yeah, so 16 of these are replacements. So there's 55 total. Now 16 of those are replacements. We already have the cameras there, and then we're putting, new ones just in the same mounts, same
Right.
everything else. So,
Is the courthouse part of the national, is it on the National Register?
I think so.
I think that's what it was. Melinda, do you remember what that thing was that went through the?
I just know we declared Wellington downtown historic. I mean, the exterior was certainly, but if you did anything inside, I don't believe it.
Well, Amy would know more about that. She's what helped us get
yeah,
through
she
those
did the
steps.
step project,
So
yeah.
she would know, if you wanna get with her and visit, I would hope, if not, she'd know where to look and see, because she helped us with those steps when we renovated steps.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah. So the difference in these quotes, so the double radius?
Yeah, so those were just some quotes from suppliers that I have. Everything is on that front page, just in those 3 numbers. That's basically just the installation cost.
Oh, okay.
And
So
then
the total's
the
55.8.
suppliers. Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, so Geeson's aren't bringing the camera, that's,
No, sir. And we're saving significant money by us purchasing a camera and then doing the actual install of the camera and Geeson just pulling the wire.
okay.
You know, so there's no markups on cameras, there's no markups on other equipment, it's just.
And this includes that
fees.
one piece of equipment down that covers the sheriff's department, it's all gonna be covered by that one.
Yes, sir, so this includes the NVR, that's on
NVR.
the double radius page, that page that you're on, this is the Amazon, so there's actually 7 of these, I couldn't get that to total, but this is our storage, and so that's the storage for everything, that's why that number is higher than it typically would be. Because we're building out storage for future use, not just for, you know, the 55 that we're putting in, you know, or hopefully putting in, you know, this time around.
So the ones that you put up on the antenna,
Is there,
and they shine over at the health department, can you get a good look at stuff?
I think so.
So you can see a lot better.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then, I mean, the goal eventually is to, like I said, to build this out to a full 96 cameras, not including the jail. So that's adding additional cameras, on that design center, a few on, you know, the exterior that I talked about, like those light poles looking back in toward the courthouse, so we can see, you know, door dings, you know, on cars in the parking lot. We can see if somebody's trying to get into a car when they shouldn't be, you know, sometimes people leave their cars out overnight in the parking lot. You know, we can see if somebody scrapes the side of the health department building, so we can see just good vision around our property, so.
Didn't we say we really didn't need them like an extension of the senior center, right?
No.
We really don't need them there yet.
Yeah, and the money, Melinda,
Is in capital improvements.
okay, and we're good shape there.
Yeah, you have just over $1 million.
And so there's 3 new pages on that, design center, and that's just gonna be the EMS building, so Harper, Anthony, and Attica. So putting in additional cameras there. I didn't know this the last time we spoke, but there had been a couple of break-in attempts at the Attica shop,
Right.
for trying to get into that EMS, so, just wanted to make sure we had those doors covered.
And I suppose it would amaze you how much stuff probably goes around on all the grounds, but.
Yeah, you don't know about,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So there's nothing gonna shine into the ambulance bay then? They're all gonna be inside interior?
Yes, sir, just catching people coming in and out of the garage doors, that's really it.
Okay.
You know, and you know, they don't live in those areas, but there are living spaces in those EMS rooms, so we just wanna be respectful
Right,
of their
yeah.
privacy and, you know, make sure that we get everybody coming in and out, but as far as.
Yeah, while they're in the living spaces, they're not
Yeah,
being recorded.
yeah, yeah.
I wonder though, while we're looking at doing this up in Attica, and I know it's not gonna cover all the road and bridge spaces, but what would it take to put maybe one more camera shining over into the road and bridge? Because
Those-
how much would we regret if somebody did break into that someday? And we have the system there, but it's not shining into the road and
Sure.
bridge sheds.
So each of these build outs have, you know, and on the smaller, so the EMS stations, we can put 7 cameras there, no problem. And that's for cheap, that's just cost of the camera, wiring, and the time that it takes us for installation. So those are pretty cheap. You can see the cost of the cameras on that double radius page, you know, depending on which one you get, the price kind of fluctuates, but, you know, that'll give you at least an idea what it is. They're pretty easy to add on to, and that's the goal of this system. If we start having issues, you know, in one place or another, we can add a camera onto. So like at the Harper EMS station, you know, sometimes Public Works will, you know, park their graders and equipment out of that fuel tank in the back of the Harper station. You know, if we have issues there, it might be a good idea to put a nice camera on the side of the Harper EMS and point it back there. You know,
We can add that on at any time, right?
exactly, yes, yeah, and that's, you know, use case basis, right? So if we start having issues, let's do that, and we can do it pretty effectively and pretty cheaply.
It's like 2 cameras at the ambulance station.
No, I'm not saying, like, I know we're gonna cover
Three
it.
with that addition, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. What'd you say, Darren?
Oh, I just questioned that, like, not saying anything wrong about Shelley's office, but, you know, we got one covering going in, I didn't know if we needed to cover one in her office, but that may not be her office forever either.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just it.
You're just covering the offices.
We try to plan for, you know, what we have now and then keep it as flexible as we can moving forward.
Because we may move people around.
Exactly. Yep.
I try to do the least amount of shady things in my office. I always try
I
to go
wasn't
out
worried
the
about
hallway.
Well, it's not you that we're necessarily, it's the people that you upset is who we're worried about.
Somebody coming ballistic.
The biggest two issues that we're gonna face is in that subject is Melinda and Amy, we're planning kill switches in their office so like when Amy has an HR concern, we can roll back, you know, hit a toggle switch and the camera goes dead, like there's no power to it.
Oh.
And then so, you know, when she has that conversation with whoever's there, you know, conversation's over, she rolls back over, hits the switch, it comes back on.
Good point, didn't think about
So
that.
same thing for Melinda, so if you were to ever move, you know, Amy or Melinda, you gotta keep that in mind. Like we either need to add another switch and, you know, do wiring, all that kind of stuff, or.
She may want one for what she's doing for economic development activities.
Sure.
Right,
Yep.
for
And
privacy.
it would make somebody feel a lot more comfortable if you, because the sound is it really good on these?
Most of these don't have sound, we're not doing audio, so.
But it may make somebody more comfortable if they come to talk to you, if you can flip that thing on.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
That's an easy
For
addition,
perspective.
doesn't
Don't
change
you,
numbers
Shelley?
at all. I mean,
Yes,
we
sir.
got room
Yeah,
for that.
I mean, there, certainly privacy is a huge issue when talking with
The only
people.
thing is, on her office, you're gonna see,
Who's going in? Yeah, I mean, obviously you come up to the courthouse, you're,
Yeah,
I mean, what's traffic.
as long as it doesn't have sound, I mean, that makes me feel a little better. 'Cause the
maybe you don't need a kill switch then?
Yeah, the conversations are what's probably the most confidential as opposed to who it is and this, that, and the other. So I don't know that we would need as long as there's no audio.
And we can add those kill switches, they're not gonna affect this price much at all, we've got built-in room for that. But we need to do it before installation or during installation, because after the fact, that wiring gets pretty tricky, right? We're basically cutting, you know, a hole in our wiring and putting that switch in.
Right.
And so we just need to know beforehand. And that's why, like I said, Amy and Melinda, they could flip-flop offices and have no issues, but, you know, if you try to put, you know, Melinda downstairs where I am, she's not gonna have a kill switch.
Hey Josh,
Yes.
are you doing the same thing for our office for election,
I-
like we talked about?
I am not. You guys will have, you know, privacy masking for your screens and for.
The entire counter?
No, the counter will still be
We have to have
live.
the counter too.
We can add something in for elections, like
Okay.
specifically, you know, for that time period. But, I mean, I think one of the main goals here is to get the counter. That way if somebody comes in and they are agitated, we have video record of them, you know, there, so. And that is another thing, I've had a lot of questions about this. You know, the attorney's office, several offices in the courthouse, they have sensitive information that they're dealing with on their computers, on their desks, laptops, whatever. And yeah, these cameras are good enough where they can pick up words on a piece of paper.
Mm.
So most of the desks, especially like in workplaces, will have a privacy mask on them. That's just a big black box that does not record in that area. So we won't be able to see screens, you know, desks at the attorney's office, things like that. And like for the clerk's case, during elections, we would then turn that on and off. So the counter would be black, you know.
So that's a question I have for you, the one we have in our courthouse, in our room now, it's facing back toward his, can it pick up on his screen?
That's not a great camera,
Okay, I'm just asking, because I asked him about that the other day when we sat
There
there.
are some things, yeah.
but if you tried really hard, maybe, you know.
So if I'm playing solitaire, you
Yeah,
can.
no, we could definitely proceed by playing freestyle, yeah, absolutely.
But I just questioned that, because the one facing back towards his will pick up his pretty easily.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the same thing we're facing, but we're putting in, instead of a, you know, $100 webcam, or
Right.
not, or, sorry, $19 webcam,
You're putting the camera in.
we're putting, you know, sometimes a $400 or $500 camera in, that's got a heck of a lot more pixelation and zooming capabilities that thing won't have, so.
Okay,
Does the third floor people have any concerns, what you're gonna do up there, like the judges or the?
Haven't got a lot of pushback so far. There's currently a camera in that jury room, so this one right here.
Witness room?
And then in the magistrate court, there's 2 cameras in there. We would be considering replacing those, getting them a separate system, or separate login and everything for our system, so they can see just those.
On their own.
Correct, yeah.
What about that community corrections room? I mean, does she ever have anything that she needs to worry about, or
I'm sorry, which one is this?
that community corrections room? I mean, you'll be able to see them going in, you know, who's going in there, but
Right.
I'm sure she gets some pretty crazy
I would imagine.
stuff going on in there.
And, I mean, that's an easy one to do. We put one on the other side of that wall there, and we've got view for that camera.
Okay.
I know there's gonna be some tweaks and things here.
Right,
I'm sure,
right.
you know, I quoted this out as, with Brad Geeson, and, you know, I wanna do my best to work with him, but he may run into something and say, hey, Josh, I can't put a camera there. I can't get through that wall. I can't
Right.
do whatever. We'll have to figure something else out. And, you know, that's when maybe having 1 or 2 wireless cameras comes in, and we have that option. We can't add those on with this system. They record the same, and, you know, just if the Wi-Fi goes down, they're not recording, so, we just have to keep that in mind.
I like it as long as it,
You know, we can think about it, bring it back next week, or you wanna,
I think
you good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
table it next week and see what we want to do for money wise.
I got this quote from, sorry,
Go ahead.
I got this quote from Brad Geeson. He's done most of the electrical work at the courthouse thus far. He put in the system that we had in his past. I did reach out and get a couple other quotes, tried here locally and have not really received anything. So I did reach out to X Services, and I've got a quote from them. I don't think this is gonna change anything on our numbers based on the talks that we've had, but just let me know, I did go through some other vendors. Same thing on pricing for the cameras, you know, I'm just trying to get the best price possible.
I'd send some meat over.
Can we get you come back next week on agenda, Linda, please?
Sure.
And-
Anything that we need to, additions, changes, things like that?
I like it, I think it's gonna be kind of a lot better than what we've got.
I think the security we got, especially with the jail and coming up the first floor up to the court, needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Agree.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks
Because if
for,
all we can
Thank
see
you.
now is a
Thanks,
orange
Russ.
spot walking up the stairs, that's not good enough.
well, and there's, you know, as soon as they get outside the building, there's a pretty,
Take off
you know,
running.
Right.
15 or 20-foot dead spot. that, you know.
Unfortunately, the day we're in, that's what has to happen.
Thank you, Josh.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, like catch our young vandals throwing rocks too.
No
Yeah.
doubt, you couldn't even tell who they were, probably.
Sorry, which ones?
The kids throwing rocks.
So we don't have great exterior cameras. Really, we got a glimpse of them coming down to the basement there to come in those walk-in slide doors, and we've got them upstairs just for a little bit. We were able to, you know, at least identify them, we think, but there's really wasn't any action after that. So
Okay.
just gotta keep an eye on it. And,
Their parents need to know.
well, yes.
If they have parents that care, I mean,
If it
you
was,
know.
if it was my kid, I'd.
Oh, I know.
That's the issue that we ran into.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Kelsey's got a hearing at 9:45. We can go ahead and bump up to, can we do Sheena right quick and take care of Sheena, because Mike's not coming here yet?
Yeah.
Mike's not weird day?
No, they must have a truck stuck or something.
I see him heading toward Boyle.
So Sheena, let's go ahead and take care of you if we can get that in before 9:45. At 9:45, we do have a hearing.
So,
Yeah, we have a truck loaded with rock stuff on the road.
Found some mud somewhere?
our truck?
Yes, our truck, our driver hauling our rock.
Hmm.
Stuck on Crystal Springs Road,
Oh,
so
my.
hopefully it doesn't tear it up too bad.
We just cleared out my bluff for some. Interesting.
Let's see, first off, I did get the demo scheduled in Barber County for the Cycra Pile Driver for November 1st. Which is a good thing we didn't schedule for today because his excavator broke actually, so
Oh, really?
he's having it repaired this week.
Is that a Monday, right?
Right,
Gosh,
yes,
sorry.
should be next Monday.
It is, okay.
The piling on Red Rock is done, so, and it looks good. Chad came down, the engineer from Schwab Eden, he looked it over, he said it was perfectly great. So the bridge crew is on Bob Mack, up on 150 today and this week, and then they will go to Red Rock since we have that piling. Catlin Bridge is open, so you just pull another pin,
Yeah.
we're back in the office.
Did you bring it? Did you bring the pen?
Did not bring your giant
Good,
map,
good
no.
It was my turn.
Our tractor is fixed, one of them, but then we need another PTO shaft for another mower, so
And you didn't call, what's his name?
I have
I
not,
asked him.
I have not had time.
Gotcha.
Jim Thompson was able to get parts and fix that tractor himself, so we didn't have to take it to John Deere or anything, so.
Speaking on tractor, I still think we probably ought to rent that one
To get it going.
for 160 hours. Put their mower on it.
For how much? What was
160 hours.
I know, what was the cost of it?
It was, it's on here somewhere, I just seen it. 6,000 something. Didn't you send that, Linda?
Yeah, she sent it again, I can't remember where it was at.
6,750.
And it's 160 hours.
Be for a month.
Damn, it seems high.
It does seem pretty expensive, doesn't it?
It's not a combine, it's a tractor to mow with.
75 an hour, is that what he had down? I think it's 75 an
It
hour.
will be hard on it.
Well,
That's for 1 month.
Yep.
The problem we're running
Well, it's
into with
used
that,
like
though,
over
just to
5.
keep in mind, is we don't really have people to run the motors right now either.
Well, Mike,
Run that
what
up
did you
there.
visit with Mike?
do you want, well, if you don't wanna call him, I can, Darren. I don't know if he can find you a better deal or not, but.
We have 2 of them able to run right now, correct?
We're running 2 mowers.
Okay.
Well, we ran one partially this week because the other tractors broke down, and I guess apparently the mower was broke down the other one, so we haven't mowed much of anything.
I'll move my
Yeah,
ditches.
it's
I started mowing.
So, I guess where I'm getting out on the month thing is because we're gonna be running in November here pretty quick. Either we just, I guess we can mow her up until it snows, I guess,
No, it won't snow.
so we can hang on.
I would just hit your main roads and maybe call it good this year, but I don't care, I mean.
I hate spending $6,000 for something we don't have anything to show for after that. If we can make those other 2 mowers keep it running.
I'm about ready to give up on that deal. I don't know what to tell
Keeping them running?
you. I'm just telling you, we can't keep them running.
It's been, yeah, like a month of Mondays, the mowers, so.
Well, that's fine, I'm just telling you, when people are asking how come their roads ain't mowed and the snow does start flying, then you're gonna know why.
I understand.
I'm just telling you.
We've had a lot of years where the ditches didn't get mowed.
Yeah, this isn't the
Okay.
first time.
Okay,
I mean, if you do your main roads, especially the east-west roads and your main roads, and just get done what you can with the 2 we have, whatever. I don't know. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie, up in my area, a lot of people mow their own ditches, so.
yeah, we mow ours too, a lot of them. Okay, so you want to nick that?
I think I'd hold off, in my opinion. Jeff, you're same way?
I do, but I would like to see us contact that other guy. I think he can make better deals. I really do.
You wanna reach out to him?
I can. I just talked to him last night.
Okay. Why don't you do that, see what we can do.
I put together the request for bids for the lowboy trailer, if you guys just wanna check out the specs.
Did you send those on the email, or did we have those in, or is it just paper?
No, we kinda just discussed
Okay.
it verbally last time, but
Last
I
week,
just put
yeah.
it all on paper. I sat down with Jim Thompson one more time and just double checked them on the specs on that, so if we wanna set the date.
It's 2 weeks.
The 8th, so
Thanksgiving.
close on the 5th, open on the 8th.
Okay. You good with that?
Can you send this to how many people? Or you just send it to the one?
No, I'll send it to at least 3. I have to give everybody a fair shot. Here is our project list.
Thank you.
We added a whole bunch of stuff on there. I did go ahead and add the Hall Bridge and Singer Bridge, the removal, because we do need to get
Sign it.
working on that one.
If you want, we need to sign that or anything? Or
No,
can-
No, we
I
need
just
to,
wanted
we
to-
need to make a motion to go out for this.
Okay, so moved.
Okay, so, give me the dates again.
Open on the 8th. and
All right, Darren's made the motion to go out for bids on a lowboy trailer, for purchase. And date, the timeline, the date that we need to have them back in the office will be the November 5th, and we will open them on November the 8th. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for that, Sheena.
On that Harper Cemetery Road, that's just one place, right, that I can think of, right there by that bridge?
Harper Cemetery, yeah, there's just an asphalt patch that we need to fix right there on the bridge, so,
It needs to be fixed pretty fast or it's gonna get worse.
yes. Yeah, Mike talked about kind of pulling out the patch that is existing and
Yeah.
just redoing it, just
Yeah.
digging out and redoing it. So, lots of culverts and ditches right now we're working on.
Yeah, but them bottom ones there, so there, you're looking at putting a bypass around the,
A shoe fly at Cather, yeah, so that was requested by, the tenant, and he's talking to the landowner. And, that would be to the south of the Cather Bridge,
and
which would just go to help us too when we go to replace everything, so.
as long as the landowner is okay with the fence and putting it in and driving around it.
Mike talked like it was gonna happen, so it must be Jimmy Vardy rents both sides of that road. And so once he got cattled out, he was okay with having it in there.
Cause he's got all the record.
Does he know that we're looking at maybe starting on that bridge fairly soon?
Yeah, he said even if it's just for like a month, he would still rather have a shoe fly there.
Okay.
if it's a month,
It's
so.
kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's a mess everywhere.
Which,
but-
yeah, I totally understand, so we're gonna get to moving on that as
Okay.
well.
And the Acorn deal, I wouldn't call that a priority because the wheat's already in the ground, so I
No,
would just say whenever you
yeah,
can get that.
it's on there, it's been flagged,
Okay.
and
Oh,
checked
they,
out, so.
oh, they did, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, we're kinda doing a culvert inventory. We are gonna need to order some culverts, specifically like 24-inch culvert. So that's gonna be something we'll be putting together soon, is to try to make an order for that. I'm sure we'll have to go out for bid. So you can't just order one piece of culvert. So we'll work on that, but
So,
that'll be upcoming.
Question I have for you, Sheena, on the shoe fly deal, there's nothing special we had to do or permission we had to get from, so I wonder,
So-
oh, go ahead.
Well, so I did talk to, Larry over at Barber County and just kinda asked about like permissions, cause I know he does a lot of shoe flies over there. And as long as we just have an agreement documentation that's signed, notarized between us and the landowner, that we can put a temporary detour in there on that piece of the land. We don't have to have anything super legal, formal as far as a temporary easement or anything like that.
So when was he talking about getting them concrete? I mean, how far off are we on them concrete? Are we talking a month? Are we talking 2 months for that Cather Bridge?
Well, it just kinda depends. I told you we wanna wait until the grant approval or rejection, which will be, he said in the first week or two of November, is when I should hear back on that grant, before we can tear it out and remove it. If we hear back sooner than that,
I
we'll
thought we
do
was just
that,
gonna
but he's-
bypass the grant and buy that. I didn't know we was going for a grant then.
It's just to tag along on the other one, we get
Okay.
an extra $50,000 if they approve us, and we're gonna remove it anyway.
Yeah.
But we just want that extra
Yeah.
money if we can get it.
Right,
So if we
yeah.
have to wait a couple weeks,
Heck, yeah.
just for that, I think it's kinda worth it for 50 grand.
Well, what I'm wondering is how many of these other, highly traveled roads can we maybe think about a shoe fly in?
That's something to think about. I will write it
And it
down.
can't be somewhere where there's a lot of water rolling through, I realize that, but,
Right,
cause then I'd push it right on out, but I mean, if we
Yeah,
could.
but we'd have to talk about bridges. It's gonna be quite a while back.
Right.
because,
Well,
I mean,
right,
we
like I
put one
talked
every
about.
month.
Well, no, and I get that, I'm just saying the high traveled areas that don't have water just rushing through there when it gets some rain.
Did you ever approve the engineering quote? For Cather?
the quote, we didn't get like a full quote, we just got the proposal, but we don't
The
have.
one that was presented last week that just had the wrong signature line?
Oh, right,
He signed it and then Mike signed it, it was below the threshold, so it was,
Okay,
yeah,
because as of Monday, it wasn't signed, so just making sure.
no, he got that, yeah, Mike signed that and they sent it in with Mike's signature.
hey, Sheena, we do have that hearing, if you could just sit tight for a minute and then come back, or,
Sure,
Just-
I don't know what time it
It'll
is.
take a few minutes.
Okay.
For Mike, Mike's here too, so he.
Oh,
Yep.
maybe.
so if you got a little bit of time, we'll do this hearing.
Did you guys get the email with the The map,
Yep.
and this is the same map that I sent out to each of the, I don't know if that's easy. And on the other side has it. I still have not received any word or communication from anybody disagreeing with closing it. So the same gentleman, he, and here's the stuff. He's just gonna put I believe, a gate up. And they didn't wanna, when I talked to Sheena for Road and Bridge, so past the railroad tracks, they actually use that to turn around when they're grading. and
So we're looking at closing this right here.
Yes, yes.
I can't imagine there's a whole lot of traffic back there for anything.
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't have traffic reports, so.
And so there is no access for anything back here to the railroad track.
In fact, I think the guy that owns
All
both
this.
sides of that now.
All this, so he owns all this.
I'm pretty sure of it.
Yep.
You?
So there wouldn't be any reason that the railroad needs to use it then, for sure.
They have their own right of way, don't they?
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying in an emergency situation or,
They could still use the, because we're not extending past the railroad. It's just up to you.
okay, no,
There's only one little other glitch. I don't know if it makes any difference, but my name's with an I instead of an E. Does that matter?
Kinda, yeah.
That'd be the only, I mean, at least I've noticed it. I don't know if it makes a difference or not makes a difference.
You can reprint it and if you
I
want.
guess,
The thing is, though, this is something that goes on file forever.
I'm just saying my name's
So
like
just
I.
scratching an I into there is not, in my
That's-
opinion,
I
think.
gotcha, so we don't, I mean, if you wanna approve it and just sign it later, but I don't have a printer here
I know.
nor access
So,
to do anything.
I think we can go ahead and prove it, but
Yeah.
Darren, in my opinion, I think you want your name to go on that ballot.
And I will do so.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
it's all right.
So need a
Spelled
motion
it many
to,
times.
need a motion to approve resolution number 2021-20, and that is a motion to vacate a portion of Northwest 70 Road, and northeast of that.
so,
Jeff made the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
You'll have those back
Yep.
next Monday, we'll sign that.
Sounds
We're
good.
finished.
Thank you.
All right, Sheena and Mike, you wanna come over?
I didn't get that. I never said anything.
What's the map?
Hey Shane, what's that one on the bus route on line 14?
How are you, Mike?
That's a bus
Pulling
route, so I
trucks
had
out.
Mark Yoder call and give me a list of like 4 roads that needed hit. And we hit them all, but that
So
one.
it just needs to be maintained, yeah.
Patrol, yeah, that one particular mile just needs a little more work.
Okay.
That was kind of the last mile out of that. And I did ask him again for a map
Yep.
of the bus routes and I still don't have it, so,
Okay.
and whatnot.
Thorntonbury building?
Well, that's what I was wondering. And that's more your jurisdiction, that's what
That's
I
kinda
was
what I
wondering,
think
that's,
that road
it's gotta
is,
be
yeah.
right up in there somewhere.
Kid doesn't find foundation.
Okay.
Mike, was you in Bluff City this morning?
Yes,
I met you.
I thought I saw you.
Because other people that live on there,
Yeah.
they've got the same
I had to go to
road,
time
they
sheet
don't have
thing.
kids.
You've got my
that live on
quarantine
there.
now.
Yeah.
Want
Great.
to fix them up? We've got 2 in the hospital, 1 quarantined, and 1 free.
Just neat.
They were both that one.
We do have a new guy that started today, so
Yes, and I've got another application
is
too.
it like 3 down on the.
Damien will do it.
Bet you didn't lose your cattle dog though. I did.
Went right over my head.
Yeah. You got the cap on.
Missing his dog.
I was just trying to get Shelley woke up over there.
Updated.
We approved going out for bids, Mike, for the load wing. So that's, we'll open those on November 8th, isn't that what we said?
Yeah,
So
open on November 8th, so y'all,
they've got to be back November 5th, and then we'll open on the 8th.
Okay.
you want us to do the one? trailer
Did you
project list.
talk about the tractor, the one that just got
The
fixed?
one that just got fixed with the other mower in the
Except-
PTO shop.
Yes, okay,
Yes.
thank you. You're all popped up.
Good
Thank
news
you.
and bad news.
We probably don't wanna rent that other mower.
We decided not to, or they decided to postpone it.
Jeff was gonna check and see if he
Y'all
could
move
find,
all ahead of me here.
well, Jeff was gonna check maybe one more place to see if he could find something maybe a little bit cheaper.
We have nobody to run.
Well, that's what she brought up too, so then that's kind of pointless then if we do
And
that.
the excavator,
So maybe the place you can.
have we talked about the loaner?
Right, I forgot about that, it's not even on my list, thank you. I did send you guys that email from Central Power Systems, because we're not gonna be able to get our excavator in for a few months, but they discussed kind of a loaner
Saw that.
sort of thing, I didn't know what you guys wanted to do.
I would like to go ahead and get these bridges torn out.
So,
Plus, I've got several
What's the
plans.
cost on it? I didn't.
That's what we haven't found out.
I wanted to see what you guys thought about it first, and then I'll contact them. It seemed like it might be kind of helping us out sort of deal,
Oh.
that's the wording on the email, so I just really need to see.
well, if Mike thinks he can put it to work, maybe
Well,
he's
I
gonna
mean,
help us with it.
if they're not gonna charge us an arm and a leg for it.
Yeah, bring it here.
Yeah.
We'll park the other one for a week or two.
No, we're not doing that either. We're gonna use both of them.
Okay.
Did you say loan or borrow?
That's what we don't know.
That's what I don't know, that's why I sent you guys that email, the wording on it seemed like, he said we could work something out,
Yeah.
so
If
that's
it's
free,
reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, get started, get going.
yeah.
Work on-
What else do we have?
Looks like the landfill continues to be pretty slow. I wonder if we're using our manpower there effectively, if it could be more efficient use of our time somewhere else. Because the last one you sent continues to look like it's pretty slow.
How'd that go half a day?
Well, that's what I was wondering, if we're not being very efficient with our manpower. Mike, what do you think?
Well, yeah, if that's the case.
Can they dump like in the morning or afternoon, whichever would be best?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like since we're only open 1 day a week, that you're probably gonna get some pushback from people if we shorten the hours and we're only open for 4 hours. You're gonna have a few frequent users that are going to be very
That time
unhappy.
of year where
It's slow.
it's slow.
Sometimes it's really busy and sometimes it's
Yeah.
not.
Kind
But
of
we do
a
only
give
have
and take.
2 guys that run that. We don't ever have any more than 2 people there.
Do we need
Unless
two
it's-
though?
Well, you gotta have somebody out
Somebody
working
out.
and somebody in the office when people show up.
He can't bounce back and forth?
That'd be kinda tough to do, if you
Right.
don't know when people are showing up.
Okay.
We can keep track of it for another month or so.
Okay.
And see what.
Well, I'm just trying to think of a place that we can drag somebody out to help you a little bit more, but if you think that's not,
I mean, most of the time back in the day, they had two, but there was times when Dean Horton ran that deal, he would dump you or weigh you and then go
that's
dump
what
you.
I'm kind of,
But it's probably a rarity, I don't know. You know.
Now, I wouldn't- Have you sent an email or whatever for that shoe fly for that bridge?
Oh, we talked about, yeah. I have not typed up the document though, but I will.
And you might also get with Richard and have him review
Yeah.
that.
Always. Yeah, they were asking about shoe flies on other ones. I did wanna bring up that the Zimmerman is the one that I applied for the grant for with the Cather.
right?
And if that is approved, it is gonna take a while to get that done, so we did discuss a shoe fly there, and I think we've talked to landowners there too. So that would be another one that we would talk about doing a shoe fly on. As far as the other ones, we haven't really discussed it, but I can get with Damien and ask.
What's the deal, I can't remember, what's the deal on that 19? At Howard? Right there.
19.
I don't know if I didn't know up to that bridge.
I need to look my numbers on it, see where it was at.
Well, it was up there kinda higher
Well,
because we
maybe I
were
have some.
already in that area, so he was just gonna try to do all the ones in that
I've-
area, but
I've been asked about that one a couple times, and I told them I didn't know where it was at on the priority list.
well, yeah, trying to rank them 1 through 5 has not been working,
It
so we're
hasn't
just
been.
doing a 1 and a 2
Yeah.
right now. And hopefully,
Well, I didn't know if it's an easy fix or
I
what.
I
can't-
don't know, I have to go back and look.
Can't remember.
Which I have pictures of all those. And I just don't remember that one.
Okay.
What's wrong with it?
This area up here
Yeah.
is pretty nice.
Yeah, but I think there's isn't there another inspection coming?
Because KDOT didn't go inspect all those for
So
low
when that-
grade
so
yet.
When that happens, Darren,
Yeah, they will.
which that's every 2 years, I believe, when they do those
2 years.
inspections.
Coming up.
So that won't be this year yet, but next year you'll start to hear about it.
Yeah, I can hear it here. But they don't have quite as many, well, they have several bridges.
Yeah,
We
bit
have,
more than you think.
This down to here, most of them.
we have 4 employees gone or out right now. How do you feel about, we have a guy in Atticus offering to mow for us on weekends, one of our employees.
Didn't we talk, where's Amy? Didn't we do that a year or two ago? Talk about maybe somebody on the weekends
I
doing some
did it when
stuff?
I was here before.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he a current employee?
Yeah,
So it'll be overtime?
right. But you got 4 people out that you're not paying.
Yeah,
So it'll
yeah.
help
We're
us.
paying them. Just-
Yeah.
Right.
It'll be overtime. My concern would be the liability if something happens. Is there, I mean, there's no one else working,
So
so
I will be
He'll
there.
be on
you'll
call
be on
though.
call,
Yeah,
okay?
on salary, so.
Yeah, that's true, as long as you know, I don't see a problem with it from an HR standpoint, as long as there is someone who's aware that they're out there.
I will be there every
And if
weekend.
they need to call or use their radio, there's someone to answer.
I will be there.
Is
Support
it,
that.
is
Oh,
it,
yeah, we're paying them.
is it the type of person that's gonna get out there and get it
Yeah,
done?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you need us to do something on your end, Amy, to make that happen, or just tell Mike to do it?
I say, just go ahead and do it. I may go ahead and do a personnel status form for next Monday, just with the approval of
You good with
allowing
that?
the extra.
Mhm.
You good with that?
For a month or so.
He's gonna utilize his time, then. Yeah.
He will,
Okay,
and he's ran tractors a lot. so.
good. That's a good idea.
Yep, thanks for bringing that up.
And if there are any others that would qualify for that, for running a
We'll
tractor?
get too carried away, cause
Well, at least 2, maybe, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I wouldn't go more than 2, but
Yeah.
that's one that you said, okay. We've gotta get those mowers running.
I just told him that about 5 minutes ago.
But he's short on manpower, so
I'm way short on that.
can they afford 2 of them doing
Yeah, their salary budget is really
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
good.
it? So why
I'm
not?
all for it.
Why not allow him?
Especially if you
got
have another
somebody- Are you all right?
person.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good, if you can
Yeah.
find 2 of them, get after it. I offered one time, but Amy wouldn't let me do it.
To go mow?
What about
She
me?
says I'm a liability risk.
Would I be able to mow?
You can mow, but
Yeah,
you're not
as
gonna
long
get,
as there's somebody on the other end of a radio for you.
We checked into it, and it was something about our liability insurance didn't like it, that I wasn't a road
I
and bridge
think so.
employee
I
or
don't
something.
remember.
It's because you're a commissioner.
What
Yeah,
about,
you can't be in both.
You can be in both
Yeah.
places.
I know,
Everybody else is doing 3 jobs, why not?
Why not?
nobody else wants to do it, let me have the money, yeah.
well, let's just send them a bill then for mowing around ditches.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Anyway, yep.
You do trouble starter, Jeffrey.
Ah, that's who I am, though. The meat.
I don't have anything else. Unless Mike does.
I don't,
I got something else for you though.
I don't know.
The bridge north of Bluff, can't think of the name of the creek now, straight north of the Bluff Bridge,
And 1 mile north.
Bear Creek, yep,
And then back.
no, it's on Bluff Road, it's on Bluff Road. It's Bear Creek Bridge. It's 1 mile north of, well, it's not a mile and a half north of Bluff. You went right over this morning. On the west side, there's a cement structure that goes down there, the water's supposed to run down, it's all intercut. And I told, well, I won't get into it. So anyway, when you look at that, because it's what's gonna happen is it's gonna intercut that and it's gonna go around them, gonna go behind our embankment on the bridge. It's been that way for 8 months to a year now. So there's one you need to look at, if it's easy fix or whatever, just something we need to look at. And also on the Bluff Bridge, the Bluff State Bridge, they went in, which they tried to fix it, but you know when the bridge, they had the bridges out, the worst
Yeah.
embankment, so they piled a bunch of sand up against the south bank of the creek, 'cause the creek's trying to move south. I think if you have any kind of structure or anything, we need to put some kind of a cement structure, stem wall, dirt, whatever, to run that water, try to run it back to the north just a little bit. You'll see what I'm talking about, because that water's cutting south,
That's the bridge right there at the
That
north
bluff.
edge of.
that bluff. right there, Bluff, the cement place,
Okay.
north end, right there north of Bluff. So if you look, when they did that work down there, they took all the dirt on the north side, the sand, and pushed it all to the south side. Well, the sand ain't gonna stay.
Do we need to straighten the creek?
Well, they tried. It's gonna keep working its way south.
Okay.
Because they dug all that out on the north side, and you can see now it's all filled in with sand again.
Okay.
But they've got a bunch of rock piled along the south bank of the creek. But I think the rock needs to go farther out into the creek to push it away from that wall, and bank the
Okay.
wall, because we've already fixed that once, it's gonna do it, I mean, the creek's eventually running into the wall of the bridge. So,
Do you have any use for big rock, big slabs of
Right
concrete?
there.
So I'm just saying, that they're tearing that farm down on the, north of Harper
Oh, yeah.
there.
We
And they've
can
got all
always
that
use
concrete
rock.
lined up along there.
That, Highland Knob Road, you showed me, they use a lot of that rock in there, coming down that hill.
yeah, right there on the,
Oh,
Jenny's.
what's the, Jenny's place, yeah.
so, anyway, sometime in Bluff, you stop and look at it. I mean, it's nothing that has to be done right now, but I think eventually over time, if we don't put some kind of a rock stem wall to push that water back to the north, eventually the creek's gonna run directly into the bridge, concrete, and it probably already has again. I mean, they had it fixed, but it's all washed out, so.
I'll call Brian and see what he wants for that
Where was
stuff.
that at?
There on the diagonal north of Harper,
Oh, okay.
on Highway 2.
Okay.
Tore all that shed and stuff out of there.
Just a few other things on your list. We don't want you to run out of something to do.
Deep breath, Mike, deep breath.
Nothing on the backside yet.
You've not been on page 2 yet.
Well, some of these are small, I mean, they're not gonna take a lot, some of that stuff. It's just you got higher priority manpower right now to get all of it done.
Exactly.
We understand.
Yep.
We're trying.
No, we know. It's tough when you don't have people here.
Okay, that's the only thing I had for you. I thought about that this morning when I met you. I thought about stopping and said, hey, you need to go get that cement
Yeah,
in.
I was kinda in a hurry anyway, so.
Thank you, guys.
But it's been addressed.
Appreciate it.
It's been talked about before.
Thank you, guys.
Just we didn't do nothing. So,
Do
See
you
ya.
need- Do you need this mic? This one here?
No, I've got.
Okay.
Amy, you okay with going early?
You bet.
All right.
Make it look clearer for you.
Get your little flag.
Trying to be professional today.
Are you good, yeah? Stuff in your way.
All right, I do have some personnel status forms, got a resignation from Public Works, termination from Public Works, new hire in dispatch. And then a new hire in EMS, or a rehire in EMS.
Felt left out, so I'm glad
You
you're
did.
back.
That's interesting. You want me to sign this, or you guys want to look at it first?
I don't care. Go ahead, I'll look at it.
I've got dispatch, right? Or, yeah.
Yes.
You decided the day was the 25th, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is a new one.
It's a rehire. You know, PRN and then we used to have a dispatch.
This person over there.
Susan Harper. Next thing I forwarded you all, evaluation to review.
Yep.
I just need you to sign off on it if you would.
Do we have any more, I mean, what do we have for open positions in road and bridge now, do you know, rough top of your head?
No, I don't know if it was my head. We had one and then we
Yeah, I
had.
know. I just didn't know what to
two.
find.
So now we've got at least 3.
We got 3 open positions? Okay, do you have any applications? Do you know?
No,
I think they said, did they say that anybody that had one come in?
I thought I did. Maybe not. Maybe I
Not that's made
misunderstood
its
that.
way to me.
Okay. Maybe he had somebody, maybe not enough. I don't know. I understood that.
We did have a new hire start this morning.
Are you okay with this, performance evaluation?
Me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, I guess. If I did, I didn't.
Is this one you're talking about? Yeah.
I'll look it up.
And I've also got a couple of vacancy notices.
So question for you, we go to merit-based pay on some of these. What checks and balances are in place that keep the
Anybody just
department head from, from putting fives through there, so then,
If you're gonna, well, in my opinion, in the way that that policy is written, you all will have final say. I'll review them all, and then if somebody does have all fives, nobody is gonna be all fives, or they shouldn't be.
Well, he'd have to be here, right? Or
Yeah,
not? To go over this.
to go over it. Well, and you know, that's something we need to talk about, is how do you guys want to implement those?
oh, and I'm not saying that about this one, Amy, I'm just,
Yeah.
No, I was just curious how
Yeah.
they usually do
That's
Do you
that.
that's a
want-
general question.
Yeah, that's just a general question. Do you want the department heads to be here to do these instead of just me? Do you want to have them on the agenda when they've got these? The problem is, we're doing them on anniversary dates, so it's just gonna be, you'll probably have one every.
if we're doing merit-based pay,
Mhm.
then I think the department head needs to be a part of the discussion, in case we come across something like, wait a minute, I don't agree with this.
Or maybe a trigger, you know, so if it is 4.5 or higher, they need to
Right,
be
there you go.
justifying any five. I think any fives need to have justification.
I agree.
It needs to
Because
be
I look at this,
documented.
I would have no idea,
Mhm.
not on this one.
No, well,
Neither
and you
would I.
three won't on most of them.
I mean, I
You
know-
don't work with
I know
them.
who they are, but
And not that I wanna scrutinize everybody's
Yeah.
every little detail, but yet I think if we're talking about
They're gonna
that,
have, they have to earn it. I mean, this is not gonna be something they're just.
And again, though, that, did you sign that, Jeff?
no, I thought, well, okay.
That's the, I mean, and that's the problem though with the merit, not the problem, but the challenge with the merit-based
Right.
increase.
Yeah, but that's the right way to do it.
I love that you changed your word.
Thank you.
I wanna get there, but I
Right
also
here,
wanna make sure we're,
Right here, or where? Where do you want me?
There should be a commissioner,
Is it or not?
just at the bottom, James Cottle.
right across the.
Big like John Hancock.
Well, that's why I was asking if I need to sign it, because,
There's no spot.
no, if we wanted him to come in with.
That's just the evaluation, that's not the,
Right, and we haven't done that yet,
Okay.
so.
that don't happen until the first year, correct?
Yeah.
With our new budget.
Correct. But when we get to that point, I wanna make sure we have all those kinks kind of ironed out, so.
Yeah, well, and on Monday, I'll have that policy for you guys again to review.
Well, I think the policy's all right. I
Yeah.
just think
But
that,
that needs to be part
Well,
of
if
the
you wanna do
policy,
that,
is
right.
how the approval for the merit-based.
I know how much Darren likes to keep everything fair for everybody. There's gonna be some department heads that
well, I don't think
probably.
merit, it's not even raise. You,
No.
you have to be, you're going to have to earn it, or your boss is gonna say, well, this is because of this, this, and this. There's no guarantee to that merit-based raise, right?
Right, and at some point, you've got to have faith in your department heads. And
Right.
we have talked to them about this in department head meetings, and they have all said, yes, I do wanna do this, and we've said, well, that means you're gonna have to be objective in your evaluation.
But they all need to be on the same page.
Mhm.
And then, I don't know, it used to be, back in my teaching days, and I hated these, they called them rubrics, you know, and so they had, you had to do this, this.
Yes.
Worse.
Barf, that was my last reason to get out of that job, but,
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff, so that you have to, and I'm supposing you have something like that too, that
Yeah.
if they're doing this, then they get this.
Well, and that's part of why we went to this format, was so we're evaluating them on their job descriptions. We've added their job description as one of the things they're being evaluated on, so,
Like a check mark, you did it.
yes, are you doing what we've asked you to, and are you doing it well?
We're doing it above what we asked. I mean, that's, I mean, the 3% is you're doing your job. If you're going above and beyond what you're supposed to be doing, that's the merit-based raise, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, see, that's what you'll do then. The way the policy is written is every year, when you look at your budget for the next year, you'll decide, okay, we have enough to do 5% total. So 3% of that's gonna be cost of living. So the other 2% is gonna be divvied up, and you can do it several ways. You can say if someone averages 4.5 on their evaluation, they are eligible for another 2% increase. If they average 3.5, they're eligible for another 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when that decision will need to be made, and then it's just, you're gonna have to go off of, you know, what the department heads say. And I do think, if there's a 5, there needs to be written
There
justification
has to
for
be
the 5.
justification for life.
Yeah. So,
Because that's way over and above what they're supposed to be doing.
right. And 3s aren't bad, that's a hard thing for a lot of people to wrap their heads around.
It's not acceptable in my book.
It's not, I don't want any, but feel free to give them them. Okay. Vacancy notices. I do have the one for our finance director, if you will sign the back of it. I also have one, Jennifer Wolf, our public transportation. Our part-time driver resigned back in February, and we didn't fill that position. She is asking to go ahead and at least post for it, just in case. Right now, she's short in the senior centers. We've had a resignation for one, and the other one has been out quite a bit. So Jennifer's trying to fill a lot of different positions, driving and senior centering, and then everything else that she's supposed to do as director. So she's asking if we could maybe post for this part-time driver position.
That position is budgeted for, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
You okay with that? I'm too. Jeff?
The part-time positions are hard to fill, but, you know.
And she is getting busier. There for a while, she wasn't,
No,
didn't
but-
have the volume, but I think it's coming back.
She's hustling right now, and she's
Oh.
been driving a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it.
I want to say this is a huge loss to Harper County. Huge. So, just so you guys know. You all know.
I
You should
think,
know.
I think they know.
I appreciate your kind words.
It hurt to fill it out, just so you know,
Really know.
physically. Okay, the next question I have for you all. I know we don't wanna do, I mean.
If you need an executive session, we can do it. It's not.
We need to have one anyway at the courthouse at some point.
Is that
That's Saturday.
what we're going to do after this, or?
I'd rather not, but if we need to,
Well, okay,
10 minutes.
here's my question for you, without going into executive session. I have had 2 people request the advanced PTO. So they're COVID-related absences. There's one who is out of PTO because they needed it for another reason earlier in the year, and then there's a new hire. My question is, would it be reasonable to say, okay, Amy, as the HR director, approve what you want to approve, and then I run it past you at the next meeting? We don't have time, we can't wait 2 weeks
Right.
to approve this. I mean, and this is what it was put in place for, was for the COVID-related illnesses.
Up to 40
Or
hours.
not
right?
illnesses, yes, up to 40 hours, the COVID-related absences. So these are, you know, people whose kids have been sent home because they're exposed to somebody with it, or someone who has a household contact. It's out of their control. So my question to you is, do you want to wait until on Monday to have an executive session to discuss and approve, or would you give me the authorization to go ahead and approve if it meets the criteria, as long as I keep you all in the loop?
I'm okay with that, but I don't know, do you want that on your shoulders?
Well, I think we're pretty cut and dry with how the policy works at this point.
There's no debating. It's, if you get sent home on quarantine, or you have a kid at home at quarantine, that's what it's made for.
Yeah, is you can, and you can
My
only.
opinion. I mean,
That's what we put it in there for.
Well, and then she has a question, she can make a call.
Mhm.
That's true, that's true.
Yeah, and we can always, I mean, also keep in mind, it only actually happens on a payroll. So until we process
True.
that payroll, nothing has happened.
Right.
So you got a week in there anyway.
I
Unless,
do.
unless it falls on a certain day.
Right, the thing is, it would be, I feel like it would be nice for the employees to know, okay, yes, I know I'm gonna get paid for this. I mean,
Right,
Peace of mind.
peace of mind, thank you, that's where I was
Yep.
headed.
I'm good with it.
I'm too.
You okay
That's
with
what we
that?
put it in there for.
Okay, so I'll approve as they come in, and then
Run by us.
FYI to you all, just so you know.
Yeah. that's
There will be
better.
no more than 40 hours, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, 40, they're done. I mean, there's no more.
Okay, and then I do, so I do have 2 of those, and I'll fill you in on who they are. And then I've got a telecommuting request for one of those as well.
Well, if you have it on a written format of who it is, you can just let us look at that and not have to go into executive session, just hand that over to us to look at.
Okay, well, there's 2 of the advanced PTO request, and then the telecommuting request form.
I guess, why do we even need to see these?
You don't, I mean, the policy says that you would have to approve them,
Okay.
just to make sure not, but again, it's up to you. This is a new one, so they're kind of hard to get started. I'm excited people are using them.
Need
But that
signature
one
on
you'll
it.
need to sign off.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve a telecommuting request form for, I can say the name, Bailey Longby.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Kelsey, is she set up with her laptop and everything?
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing on my list was some of our safety-sensitive positions. I know last week, I believe, Jan with EMS had asked if they could roll their PTO time over and maybe have until the end of February to cut that off.
Yeah.
I printed out, and I don't have names on these, they're just positions and departments. and I've highlighted, or you can see the people that are in bold. So these are people that if they don't use any time between now and the end of the year, this is, the bold amount is how much they're gonna lose, okay?
Oh, well, we're clear to the right.
Yes, way, the very last column on that page.
That's ours?
Those are hours.
Looks like we got some people need to take some time off.
We do, but if you look at the different departments, like EMS has a lot, but keep in mind though, they weren't able to. There were transfers to take, and the 12 and 24-hour departments are a challenge also.
How they are.
Because a lot of them will switch, so if they can't work, if they need Monday and Tuesday off, they'll switch with somebody who's working Thursday and Friday, so they're not taking their PTO or using it because they still get their hours in. But also COVID has been a huge challenge. EMS has run their tails off.
Yep.
Lots of long distance transfers happened this time, and we don't usually do those. So they haven't been able to take those. We do have an attendant care provider who is gonna lose quite a bit. This is also, she was the only one left there for a while.
But these are the numbers that they're gonna lose.
Yes,
If they don't use any between
if they
now.
don't use any between now and the end of the year.
Well-
So there is a little bit of time left. They've got about 2
Well,
months.
that number there isn't,
No, but I'm highlighting it because it's a
Right, it's
substantial
coming,
amount.
so, yeah.
I mean, just.
this is
an
where I'm at.
FYI.
I mean, it's there for them to use. I know some of them can't use it, but we can't roll over this kind of number
No.
every year. That's not
No.
possible.
No, and I don't think she's asking for every year. And I'm
Extend
not
their time to
asking for every
February is what
year.
she's asking for.
Yeah.
Well, then it has to be used by February.
Yeah. Or they're gonna
End of
lose it.
Or they're gonna
February
lose
or February 1st. I thought she was asking for the end of February.
I thought that's what she said.
I'm just,
What
because,
is-
well, they were, but the problem is, we're gonna roll this over to use it then, well, then they're gonna be way behind. They're gonna go to the next
They're
February.
still accruing, that's the thing.
Get after, and that's why, we give them too much vacation, maybe, I don't know.
No, that's.
I would say, I hate to say it, but because if you go,
I know.
the problem it has, if you go to February, into February,
I'm
first of
surprised
March,
they use that by the end of February.
they're all gonna be behind until February or March of next year.
They've got 4 more accruals. That'll happen in the year.
Yeah.
I don't like saying a little bit, I don't even know if February first is even too far out, they need to use it.
Good luck, yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm wondering, thinking about 1 or 2 down there. Are they gonna be able to use that by the end of February?
That's like 4 weeks worth,
I know.
almost, not quite, I guess.
Well, and another option is, well, I mean, you've always got the option to leave things alone, use it or lose it.
Yeah.
And they will start out with a maximum accrual for the year.
Again,
Yeah, so they're gonna start, even if they lose this much, but a lot of people look at that as a dollar amount. They'll look at it as money loss. So that,
I
you've
know.
got options, you could pay some out, you could pay a quarter on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar, you don't have to pay a full amount.
I know,
Get to
when I
use
was
it.
at
make it
previous
happen.
fund, you used it or you lose it, and you just, but I know it's harder to do with EMS, because you have to have a certain amount of people on call all the time, but these other people down here,
Well, and I think maybe we do need to look at our 12 and 24-hour people, maybe putting them on a different PTO plan.
Well, but she's been using these people. I mean, they have to be there, or
Yeah.
else transfers and that type of stuff that we've been telling her, you gotta take these transfers. They don't happen if these people are gone. So I understand that department.
this
They-
department here is the only one that we're concerned about.
Yeah, that's the only one I'd look
This is the
at.
only one I'm concerned about at all. This
That one,
department.
the jail, I am concerned about a little bit as well. He's on the front, there's just one. But they haven't, that's another department that isn't able to not be staffed. And this is one that has stuck with us for quite a while.
So we gonna go to February first with them too then?
Well, is it February 1st or the end of
I
February?
thought she was asking end of
I
February.
thought
I
was
thought
asking
she said
for
the
2
end,
months.
but
With as many as the EMS department has to try to get some time used, it would be nice if we could get them 2 months. They're the big ones. Sheriff's office has some big ones.
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying is, they need to use more through the year, because they're 2 months behind into the next
Right.
year already. That's what I'm
Right.
saying,
I get it, but like EMS, you can't not have those
No, we
trucks
do,
staffed.
I agree.
So that's really the only one that I look at and think, okay, the rest, figure it out in the pickle, whatever, get something to work. Those, we have to have those people there. So that's the only one I'm looking at right now is the EMS that I'd be concerned about.
You don't think sheriffs and jail fall into that same category?
Well, he don't have enough people, so he's gonna come in and say, you know what, I'm understaffed, so I gotta have that person there too. So if we're gonna extend this one out to March 1st, we just will extend that one to March 1st too.
Well, then you just will do them all.
No,
Why not?
I already said, well, what are we doing the first one? We're already 10 months behind.
I'm in favor of doing them both, so.
You gotta have a detention officer, just like you have to have somebody go pick up somebody. It's just saying, it's a snowball thing, because March 1st, you know, like I said, you're already,
But are these more of a scheduling issue, more of a?
I think probably some of it's scheduling, but I think some of it's probably because of staffing. We don't have enough staff. We've cut, you know, everybody's cut back.
Do we not, Amy? I mean, have they been fully staffed this year?
Well, like the deputies, 2 of them went through the academy this year. So during that time, they were working overtime, they were working extra shifts.
You're talking about these guys?
Yes.
I'm in favor of that one and the EMS.
And then the jail, we've had a hard time filling those.
Yeah.
So that one
So
that
you probably
hasn't.
say
So you're
staffing
thinking all-
issue, but it goes revolves
You're
right
thinking
back
all
to.
three.
I would, that's me though, I feel like, and you know, maybe next year we need to look at this policy again. I mean, maybe the answer is to not limit the rollover, but you're still stuck with the 320 max.
We cut a week out,
Well, oh no.
2 weeks.
No, because we already don't cover an FMLA leave absence, we already don't cover a full 12 weeks.
How much vacation did you get at Harper a year?
What's changed since I've been there?
Well, when you were there, what'd you
Well,
get?
we got, I left, we had 4 weeks plus sick leave.
Oh, see, we got rid of our sick leave though, and it's all
But
about
I've been there.
PTO, which is why we have so many.
Yeah, but
25
you didn't have that when you started. The first
Oh,
week
no.
you started, you had
First year, you got a week after a year.
after a year.
Then you didn't get the next one until 5 years, or maybe 2 years or 5 years, I can't remember, you got 2 weeks.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Okay, I've asked this question before. What would happen if we started our date differently than January 1? Does that have any effect on it? Because I know up there, it started like July 1st.
I don't think it would,
No difference on,
not in these departments, EMS,
this thing will be there.
no, yeah, they've gotta be there regardless.
Well, I've asked that because
And I don't feel like the
is there ever,
detention center or the sheriff's office would either.
I guess you never know,
Dispatch.
if there's a slow time in EMS, that's what, like, you know,
No.
up there, it used to be slow time was the summer, you know, and they made you take it.
You know, the only reason that I would consider it right now is because of COVID. And in the years past, I said, no, you gotta use it. That's all there is to it, use it or not. Sorry, short staff, whatever, but the only reason I'm considering it is for COVID. Has COVID affected every department throughout the courthouse or the county?
I think to some extent, I don't know to the same extent, I
Okay, so-
definitely say not
So I'm
like
saying,
EMS,
do I?
not like EMS.
Okay, so
EMS.
not like EMS, that's where I'm at. So EMS has been a huge impact on those folks.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start picking departments and say, well, it's because of COVID here, but not here, then I think I don't wanna approach that in that way, because if you're gonna do it for one, you better do it for the rest, because the
Yeah.
next thing you know is they're all gonna keep coming in, and then we're gonna do this every week from here on out.
Well, we have this every year, we do this every year.
I know.
We have this discussion.
And these guys aren't aware of that because they haven't been here for that discussion yet. But I think if you're gonna do it for one, you better do it for the rest of them. And I can see for COVID reasons why EMS had an issue. But I just think if you're gonna allow the rest, you better do it, or a few others, you better do it all the way across the board.
Would you
is how I-
consider allowing that across the board?
No.
When's COVID gonna end?
I'm just asking.
I mean, it's gonna have to come to an end
It's
sometime.
never gonna.
It's gonna have to
You're
come to an
right.
It's
end.
gonna be like the flu.
I
Just wanna
gotta
think
think,
about it.
I'm a hard time.
You've got time.
Okay.
And I'll
My
talk-
tendencies are towards no, because I think, okay, so we knew that you had a staffing shortage here. Figure it out. You got a whole year. So this guy may have to cover a little bit extra, but this guy's gonna take his vacation. And you may have to figure that out within your departments.
Well, and you're right, and you're
And when you
exempt
talk to our
folks.
department heads, be a good place to
Yes.
start.
Well, but the ambulance deal, I tell you what they're gonna say, is they need another year to be able to use that. And then the next year, we're gonna have to add another year, and then you just have this whole accumulated, well, next thing you know, you have 365 days accumulated of vacation, because we keep bouncing it back and back.
Do you know if, like, those departments that are affected, is there like a documentation showing that somebody tried to use it, but their department has said no, we're understaffed? Or is it that they're just not taking it?
Oh, no, they don't fill out paperwork requesting it.
If they didn't request it, they can't take it.
Well, it's not a formal document. Do you want another piece of paper? We can do it.
Cause like we requested,
Yeah.
So the deadline is there for a reason, you know, but
I'm with
you
you.
use it or don't, that's your choice, and
But if they get, I guess what Lynn is asking, if they got, I put my vacation in, but you can't take it, you're not allowed to take it, so we need you here. See, they put the time in, but they wasn't allowed to take it.
Honestly, from conversations with different department heads, that does not happen very often, if it happens at all.
you can take your vacation if you need to.
Yes.
So you're
Yeah.
saying that we have employees that never
Still
get to
take
go
it.
anywhere
They don't ask for it.
because they can't go anywhere?
Well, but, okay, again, the reason I'm here is because one of our department heads came to you last week and asked for this, okay? So,
I guess I'd like to ask her
Jan?
if, if she's
Yeah, she was, wasn't
denied
she-
them from doing it or whatever.
Right, they don't have the staff, that's what the answer is. Right now, they're running the the regular first out truck and then the power truck. And then they've got an on-call.
And then you have these people that jump in and take an 8-hour
Yeah, and then
shift
you've got
to run to
transfers.
Oklahoma City and come back.
Yes, with COVID, they're taking them all over the place. They're not just headed to Wichita and back like they used to be.
Okay.
So that's why the EMS, I mean, that's what brought this up, was Jane's asking to
Okay, well,
extend that.
then my next question is, if that's going on, how are they ever possibly gonna be able to use it before February or March first?
They might not.
Yeah, there's 3.5 months worth for that one person. That's,
Yeah.
So, it's just not possible. I mean, if it's not happening, I mean, it's,
Well, I don't know that she's asking to be able to exhaust all of it, but maybe that would give them a little more time to get some of it.
to at least get another
To
week
at
out
least
of
get
it.
another week out of it.
Okay.
And you've got the holidays that straddle the year, so, you know, maybe someone will take off the week of New Year's instead of the week of Christmas.
I don't know, you start with one, and then next year they're gonna say, well, you allowed it last year, and then the next year, well, you allowed it. There's no end in place.
Again, I wasn't in here last week when she brought this to you, so,
Is she on the agenda next
Yeah,
week?
she's on next week.
how about we table this next week, is that possible?
Yep.
yeah, that's fine.
Can we visit with her, see
Couple months.
if they're putting in for vacation?
I don't know if I have anything else. Are we having an executive session later?
What can we talk about? We need to talk a little bit, maybe 5-10 minutes after we blow the horn.
Can we do it in the basement of the, what am I thinking, the EOC center and jump over to that little,
We can't do it here?
I really don't have anything for
No,
it, I just
Darren
wanna be
does.
ready
I
if
do.
we do, yeah.
can we do it in that EOC center, next to Chris's office? Just as soon as we're done with pushing the button on the siren, just jump over to that.
I've never been in there, so I don't know the acoustics. So,
I don't know.
Can't do it here?
If we talk
Why
loud.
would you go back?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, I don't wanna go back. If we can do it, can we do it here to talk
Yeah,
about it and get it?
5 minutes, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5
So we
minutes.
move on. Okay, let's do that, and just get it wrapped up with, because I have a feeling I know what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we'll take 5 minutes.
So Darren wants an executive
I
session
need Lynn to say all.
to discuss non-elected personnel, justification is to discuss non-elected personnel, I don't know. how
You wanna do it now or at the very end?
Let's get her done.
Right now.
Well, Amy's here and she can leave.
You want that back?
Be nice, wouldn't it? That's-
She last one.
So what have we done already?
It's not bad.
All right, thank you. The restrooms are up to the top of the stairs on the right.
Okay. We're gonna have to take a 5-minute recess.
You do? Oh. Darren's making a motion for a 5-minute recess. All in favor?
Aye.
And Steve and Brandon are
email sent to Bonnie, our past auditors, that they will release the information to the new auditors, then Brooke Vogel. So you'll need a motion for that and a signature.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wow, we're back on schedule. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll try to make it quick. Okay, just kind of wanted to recap, and then we have a couple of things we need to visit about. So, met with the owners of Elko. They are from the Tulsa area. They were actually a big customer of Elko's, and they're just a really nice younger couple. They have big plans. They want to upgrade the plant and a lot of the machinery. So Marla Canfield and I did a Zoom call with them about how they can get maybe some tax relief on some of their new machinery purchases. So that was really good. And then Britt Headland and I actually went out and met them in person, because workforce, just like everybody else, is a huge issue for them. As a matter of fact, when we were there, they were expecting a job interview or a candidate to come in for a job. The person didn't even show up. It just makes me sad. Anyway, so Britt actually talked to them about doing some transition to career and working with them, because they are really interested. They want to keep the operations here, and they're pretty excited. They come in from Tulsa, the Tulsa area, every Tuesday. So if you are ever interested in meeting with them, they leave their home about 6 o'clock in the morning and drive to Harper every Tuesday. So, yeah. And speaking of, so we had our CEO lunch at Spring Creek. Harper Industries, of course, great host. We had a guest speaker from Kansas Manufacturing Solutions. She was excellent, and she talked a lot about their LINK, which is a business development resource program that they have through Kansas Manufacturing Solutions, but it's actually run through me. So what it is if a company is interested, I would go out and do like a questionnaire and get their data, get their information, and then I would turn it over to Kansas Manufacturing Solution, and then they produce a report that tells them how they can work faster, smarter, bigger, greater, whatever. But
How'd you get involved with that?
I went to Kansas Economic Development Association.
They just said, hey, you.
Well, they were the ones who did the virtual happy hour, and I just followed up and I said, hey, I really am interested, not in your nasty cocktail that you provided everybody, because it was gross, because it had whiskey and it was nasty. But I was definitely interested in their programs.
Well, that is cool, because look at, you got Harper County on there.
Yeah, little Harper County view and little down there, and they did.
That's
they
what I'm
printed-
saying, look at
Yeah,
that.
they printed like 20 of these for us, so,
Really?
yeah, and that's how they do it. They would rather work with a local person, the boots on the ground, so I can go out to the companies that I've already have a relationship with, rather than just their person, and then we provide the data back to them. And anyway, and the guys that were at the lunch really appreciated the information, and it was a good
Good job.
so, anyway, our next lunch, though, is going to be Tuesday, November 16th, here in Anthony, because we're hoping that our Elko friends can join us, since it's a Tuesday, because they weren't able to this time because it was on a Wednesday. So I met with a young couple who is interested about our industrial park. We're kind of on there again. But they don't necessarily want one of the flats that's already, did you all get this that I sent out that had the?
No, I didn't see that.
Didn't either.
Did you send that?
I thought I did, but I will.
Is that the,
This is kind of this is an updated list, so we've got the Chisholm
Yeah.
equipment with these, got the Ag Auto, this 5.5 acres in the middle, lot 5 is open. I have had a couple of people interested, but nothing is signed, of course, that's a grinder, and then we have this 10.5 acres that's available. But, and I'll send that to you guys.
How much further does that go to the east of that? So like if we keep them moving?
Oh, yes,
I mean,
so
we don't
right
have
there.
water or anything
Boom.
over there, but.
it's a
Right
quarter,
there.
or-
Oh,
yeah, it's a quarter.
The county owns all of
So
Well,
it's a
that's
half
what I
mile.
was curious, how many acres if we started to survey part of that off?
There's a line,
Yeah.
I don't know.
so there's a line.
I thought
It
we
goes-
owned all of them.
Goes to that water.
Well, no, I know we do, but I
Yeah.
just wondered how much would be there if we were to continue to survey that off and maybe split that
Yeah,
into
yeah,
two
yeah.
separate and keep that moving, because it kinda seems like you've got some interest coming in on some
Well,
stuff.
so yes, let me tell you, I've got interest from a young couple that's actually interested in the water feature in this area of land and developing that, and the water feature is very important. I also have Brandon from the Greater Wichita Partnership has two companies that are interested in this land. One is, wait for it, got my notes, where is it? One is an ag tech startup that's interested in leasing some land, or, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't purchase, but because they're not really 100%, they want to work the product that they're developing before they're ready to actually put down roots, but I would think that if we gave them some land to operate on, then that would give us a leg up when they were ready to develop. And then there's another dairy tech lab that's looking for some land, that's doing some interesting things in the dairy field.
So they're wanting to plot like this square right here around the,
Yes.
well,
And
so here's my next question for you. If we knew we was gonna go this way, then what's the access gonna be to this property back here?
Well,
It's-
that's-
This is tied up here.
Right, and I might compliment the road and bridge guys or whoever's been doing it, but they've already been working this road. And when I went out and met with this young couple, they actually have already
Yeah.
put in the circle that, and kind of platted that out, how they're gonna work that circle.
So this is
Um,
essentially something like this. I'm gonna draw on your map. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
no, that's fine, that's what I brought these for. So to be honest, Commissioner, I don't know how they would access this because, now there is a drive, but of course we all know the expenses of doing the Kansas Department of Transportation. But they would not be opposed if there was like a road that came in this way.
Yeah, you would need to put in another road to access a lot of that back.
You really-
Here's the thing though, if they do that, that's what I brought up, we needed stuff over here, so if they're gonna do that,
Yeah.
this would be where you're gonna wanna start opening up.
Well, but
From
so
here
you
to
remember,
here.
you have the chaparral,
Yeah, that's,
something or
that's
other.
down,
The farm is right in here.
It's pretty far.
it's right there.
Oh, I
You're
thought it was
still
on
gonna
that
have
corner.
like probably 2 lots here,
Okay, and then there's also the little Pioneer Cemetery right there.
yeah,
And
but
you
that's
don't
on the
want this
outside of the
because-
fence.
Because that is creepy and I'm not doing poltergeists.
Right here's the cemetery.
You don't mess with cemeteries.
See, that's out here.
Seriously,
That
poltergeists.
has
are really
nothing to do
scary.
with inside the ground.
But then here you go again though, because I'm assuming this is,
Well, and then there's the
Well,
dump
that's-
too, there's the landfill.
ain't it right here?
It's down here.
This is the landfill right here.
You know, that line,
This is the
border right there is what we've got. We can work with.
This would be your mile section right here.
Okay, I was thinking that was the mile right there, but never mind.
But by here, we get right back to what we started with though, but to get an entrance off this road, it's
Right.
gonna be like,
Yeah,
so it's about gotta come in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
and you could go to the backside if you had to.
But this would allow, like you was talking about a road here, you would allow use of that water feature
Mhm.
right there, and then continue to bring that road down here. I
Yep.
don't know, I don't know.
Well, so what we're saying is.
I would think people would want stuff here, not back over here, but
I would assume.
You want this access right here, and then
Well, the reason the water feature is important is also because of the business type that they're talking
Right.
about, which, I'm not gonna talk about it, because I mean, I wanna be confidential until they, but that's why it's important that they have the water feature. Now, Melinda was saying that apparently whoever farms that for us right now uses that for
Yeah.
their cattle,
they do.
so,
But the income off of the farm is nothing compared to what the county stands to benefit from.
right, to
these
develop a
lots. So,
business, yeah.
And that's,
And-
you always gotta remember that. Yeah,
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
caught myself thinking that, I thought, well, they wouldn't be able to use the water. Well,
No,
yeah, but
I,
that's not,
yeah,
that's
I
not
have
the
no
reason why
problem
they're
taking
right,
people off
right.
for no
And
cattle.
you might also consider too that, we don't wanna give the water feature to just one person. And so I like Jeff's idea of having several lots kind of around that.
Mhm.
So splitting this.
And honestly, I'll be real honest with you, I'd just soon stay out of a lot of it because of
yeah.
Sure.
my kind of conflict of interest for me.
So this,
Or are you the one with the cows on there?
so if you split that in half,
Oh,
but you split that in half, though, that would give, they could still use the whole, everybody could use the water, but each one of them would have a different part of that lot,
okay. Well,
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and it might be, as this thing develops, is not really sell the pond with the lot, is to make that kind of a public area, so that if, I mean, if somebody's out there on their lunch break and wanna walk down to the pond, they can, kinda have like a.
get a little
easement type
walking
thing.
trail.
Something.
That's an idea.
I could get a grant for that. Okay, so anyway, but,
Type place.
so not only has, the Greater Wichita Partnership turned those other two businesses, but then I also visited with another gentleman who found out about our 10-acre lot and is very interested in that the partnership also turned on to us. He lives in Kansas City right now, but he and his wife are moving back to the Wichita area, and he's actually from west of here and is interested in developing some type of business, so I'm,
Well, I guess my only concern is if we're gonna plot these, then there has to be a road off this 10
Yeah.
acres here. It's gotta be on the backside.
Well, there's a lot of other work that's gonna have to go into place too. There's water and all that stuff that we're gonna have to get figured out first.
so,
We may need to start thinking ahead on that though, so
Right.
it sounds like you've got a lot of interest.
well, I
As
think,
you go, I bet there's a lot of water that comes down through there, so you're gonna have something put in
Drainage
place.
plans.
Well,
And Mike Aldrich would know, because
Yeah.
he's done the drainage study out there, so it might be that we just work with him
Get
and
with him,
see.
do you want us to, can I get the go-ahead to go ahead and talk with Mike and maybe get some more data on how we could plat the rest of that area?
And I think you need to
I
start
like-
looking into water for us too, the water
I like this.
line and all that.
I like splitting that lot.
Okay,
Or
Okay.
if you got a water feature, but like, I like the deal where you have people who.
Yeah, a little
don't-
public.
That's just don't go part of it, that's just a public,
But don't you guys think, Cheryl, start looking into the plumbing
Yes.
of the deal too, so we know what we're gonna get fixed?
all right. Plumbing,
and ask him about the water situation when that water comes down that waterway.
Very good, Shelley, this is exciting stuff.
I know.
well, other thing, see, we probably should plan to have a little bit, but maybe electricity, which we're bringing it into the middle, you know, if you can get enough electricity to support at least this one somehow, I mean,
Yeah. All right, well, I will go ahead and visit with Mike and.
How about- just a,
Maybe do a prelim plan of how he would see splitting it up and that kind of stuff.
or give us a picture when we draw up what we think what it looks like, and then come together, because this all needs to be really plotted of some kind, so you know,
Yeah,
okay, we got electricity here, well, if we go down here, what we gotta do to get to that?
right.
I mean, we should probably get kind of long-term plan. of
Yeah,
what-
long-term plan, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I
mean,
think
we
you're
don't wanna
right.
come in here and put water here, and all of a sudden, we gotta get clear down here, but
No.
we should have thought of that before we did
I
it.
think what I would like Mike to do is just kind of give us we develop the rest of this space, what would it look like, where would the road be, this kind of that,
Okay.
this and that, the other. Okay, so, I did, help with SCED interviews, they're trying to hire a new executive director. Stop, I helped with them.
I just wait for you to say something else.
No, that was it. I was not impressed with the candidates, so hopefully they get better this week. And then last but certainly not least, MC the Women in Public Service Reception for outgoing Derby City Manager Kathy Sexton and Lisa Dodson. That was up at the WSU Innovation Campus. I was privileged to actually receive that award 2 years ago, and apparently I am hilarious, so they like me to MC it.
It's like a humble pie for your morning.
Hey, I'm the baby of the family. There's no humility whatsoever.
Well, do you remember when that industrial park was going together and we thought, man, we're just struggling to get this one in there? And
It's coming together.
It was a great idea.
so, thank you both for that.
You bet, yeah.
Thanks for making that.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question
What's
for
that?
Monday. So you have a pretty full morning. You have the attorney coming from the road failure issue,
Okay.
and then Amy has several executive session topics. So do you want to try to do the bridge piling demonstration after lunch?
That'll be all right with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Where's it at?
It would be at their yard in Medicine.
We'd have to pack up and leave it right there. Where is their yard in Medicine?
I don't know.
You know?
They just built a new building, but I don't know where it's at.
It's not on that, that's the state.
That's gonna make
Main
it
drive.
a long, long day, but it'd be nice to get any day though. 'cause-
That's the only way you're gonna go see it.
Okay,
So, what time you tell us, 2 o'clock over
probably
there?
2.
2:30?
You're gonna kill your day. By the time you drive.
Yours
back.
too?
Yeah.
Can we start at 8?
I don't have anything
If
to
you want
do
to.
with that.
You guys wanna entertain that, start at 8?
Yeah, I'd do that, would you?
To try to get done
It's
earlier.
fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I feel that when money's, it's gonna go on.
Yeah. You want me to? You guys ready to go dispatch?
What time is it? I'd like to see his building.
Oh, let's do that, yeah, we're at 11 o'clock that day.
Yeah, we have 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Did
the
they
family
offer-
did confirm,
Huh?
and the family did confirm 11:30 is what time
Okay.
will be there.
Did they offer to show us around?
I asked Steve.
Yeah,
Steve
no,
did? Okay.
yeah, Brandon and Steve both, yeah.
I asked him if he could go through his shop.
We don't wanna be like, hey guys, I know you're not busy, can we go?
I just want to be taken serious. I've never been there. Yeah, absolutely.
It's-
That's part of becoming their business, right?
That's what I thought, yeah. Oh, we do have to cover this folder, sorry guys. Sorry, I thought we were finished.
Let me just see what
You got so many to sign.
somebody's gonna have to.
It's not done yet, hold on.
I can't do that. Today.
You can swap it up next week. So the AP that we approved was 161,000. This one said 192,000.
The one I did.
That's not benefits.
Second fee.
Who ran the report?
Is approved AP 1025. Ours like 161,
Yeah.
692 or something like that. I'm looking like,
Yeah, I remember, because you pointed out when you said 162.
it's faster looking than this.
Is it?
So it's AP and
You're welcome.
benefits are all on one
So
report,
they put it on, okay, that's why.
so.
That can't be approved then, right? Or can?
So you just need to subtract that 30,000 off of there, that payroll clearing amount.
Get your calculator.
Yep, I do. 192 what? 192,386.43, subtract.
30,000. 733.65.
161,
Is that what that is?
That's 165,000.
no,
Well, because this is benefits,
But it's 165,000.
so benefits are on both reports.
And it's probably because once you approve it, you have to select, and benefits probably already sitting out there. So, because they go, when the reports, there's a certain section and all the reports go all together.
So employee benefits is 165. AP is the 161.
hang on just a second.
I thought you just said 30-something.
Well, payroll clearing is on this report, it is not on that report. No, it is on that
That's
report.
to say, I don't know that we know what we have to.
Now, they're doubled up, so I know what amount to approve,
Okay.
because this would have payroll clearing on it too. So scratch that.
So do we need to scratch the one that we approved the AP earlier this morning?
That amount would be right, because that is what Hannah said. But as far as benefits, I'm not sure what amount.
All right, also guys, there's a drug dog expense for Bert, dog food. You guys okay with that?
Yep.
It's $49.86. You okay with that?
Oh, I guess I'm not going back.
I'm trying to find your, what's.
Well, what are you adding there, Darren?
What'd be AP on, what would it be on, Linda?
AP was on the 161, that report that Hannah emailed.
Okay, where was, no, I didn't have that email.
Well, it was on your Monday notes for me.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
so you won't be able to sign that report, because it's not the
How thick?
correct amount.
I'm looking at four.
I had on, notes you sent me,
How
was
thick or how
161,
wide?
652, 78, that's what my
An
number
inch with subtract an option of 3/8 to 9/16.
Okay.
That arch are close. But I can,
Well, no, but I mean, the thickness of it.
oh, the thickness, they're probably,
9/16.
So what do we need to do with these then, just hold them off or what?
I'll measure them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll substitute.
This is the AP we approved right here.
Right, but it's, all of this has already been paid, correct?
AP has not, they will run checks when they get back.
But they can't run checks until we approve.
Well, you've approved AP the right amount,
Okay.
you just have not done benefits.
And those checks have been printed too,
no, those will print tomorrow.
whether we have them approved or not.
No,
So we need to have them approved.
That's the AP we approved right there.
Correct.
And we subtracted the 30, that payroll clearing, which is,
But 30,000, the payroll would be more than 30-some thousand.
payroll clearing is just what is taken out of the, it's an in and out. So that, you're done with AP, the problem is benefits.
okay,
Okay.
So I guess if they could get a corrected report and catch you guys while you're still meeting at dispatch, maybe.
You know, if you want to run it yourself.
Yeah, so she'll have to run checks next week.
For payroll?
no,
No, for benefits.
For benefits.
benefits.
What's that do?
I don't know. But they can't be sent out without approval.
We kind of need to have those approved. Am I wrong?
I would
That's
say
not
so.
something you wait till next week for that. Is there any way that it can happen this afternoon?
I mean, I can call her while we're at dispatch.
Let's do that, because I don't want to wait till next week to pay that.
Okay. We adjourned?
Yes.
Well, you're not adjourned,
Well,
you're touring cell code.
Okay, yeah, we're still on one meeting here, we're not adjourned. Correction on that.